This video is intended to describe lightblade Talisman named Abundance, which would be the 53rd rendition in operational status. Joining me today shall be my whimsical stick figure chakra map for various crystalline stimulation points in the chakra column. And without further ado, I'll discuss the primary blade band scaffolding, which is seen as the ignition sequence framing around the entire construct, vaguely resembling a figure eight developed to be a recirculation containment field of the closed-loop little crystalline apparatus seen here. That's technically a wearable talisman, hence the necklace has been installed. Starting off with the transmutation ratio seen right here running laterally, then up the sides as well as laterally again, then another conjoining band right here is its own quadrant of that of the transmutation ratio with a combination of smoky quartz and hematite. Hematite is a very fantastic iron-based mineral that has a very strong grounding of all excessive stray radial energies of all kind to ground firmly through the root chakra into the earth stars into the earth for reprocessing. In tandem with smoky quartz providing the same energetic stimuli function of grounding all excess energy through the aura, through the root chakra, the earth stars, into the earth for reprocessing, the two together have been deemed the transmutation ratio due to the aspect of consistent high-yield etheric dialysis of energy being constantly grounded through, and most importantly, maintaining a very strong, impactful resonance with Mother Earth for consistent reprocessing or transmutation of negativity into positivity by providing an energy stimulation pathway that's very discouraging for inherent stagnant negativity to maintain in the auric field through that much reprocessing. As well as it plays quite the contingent role as its own little quadrant subroutine of the blade band sequence to ensure the frequency of the exotic crystalline array always has a very common ground, to ensure the entire frequency pitch momentum has a strong bypass into the earth to, of course, ensure the magic is made real by design. Then right here is the apex band, starting off with clear quartz to work as a neutral accelerant of the sequence going into red jasper. Red jasper is the quintessential most stabilizing root chakra stimulant in the mineral kingdom, that of earth elemental frequency, to quite simply, like just mentioned, stabilize the root chakra at a very high momentum ratio, which of course is highly underrated for the concept of the in-the-body stable experience of manifestation, particularly that of abundance. So of course it makes for a perfect segue to the primary blade band. And before I discuss that, of course, the apex band where the necklace is installed as seen continues that ratio all the way around till it grounds back into the transmutation scaffolding to serve as the common ground crystalline ignition sequence of the entire frequency pitch. So the aspect of what indeed designates it as a proper abundance talisman entry is the aspect of the primary blade band seen right here. Starting off with clear quartz to once again be a neutral accelerant of other frequencies in the entire ignition sequence, going into moss green agate, which is a green ray, water elemental stabilization of the heart chakra in the mineral kingdom that's barely unrivaled in its capacity to stabilize the heart chakra's capacity, which works particularly important in conjunction with the other green ray members of what's been considered the abundance ratio in wide distribution. With once again the clear quartz to neutrally accelerate the energy into emerald. Emerald, of course, is a very famous green ray crystal of antiquity and quite literally well praised in all of human history at this point. Most mortals have heard of emerald due to it being a prominent, famous precious stone. With its 8.5 out of 10 the hardness scale, it has very distinctly, powerfully stimulating, impeccable green ray heart chakra receptivity stimulation, which of course is a classically utilized magical stone of antiquity of abundance. Then clear quartz into peridot, another well-praised crystal of antiquity of a very powerful earth elemental green ray positivity of third and fourth chakra stimulation, that of basically the crystalline equivalent of chlorophyll. How all of this is possible is how I denote it. So naturally, the aspect of circling back to the entire ratio working together is that with the massive exaggeration of heart chakra receptivity to a high configuration, most importantly, stabilizing the wavelength with moss green agate is of the essence to, of course, maintain the frequency output to stabilize it into further tangibility by vibrational engineering design. So that sequence continues after the peridot, clear quartz, the moss green agate, clear quartz, emerald, clear quartz, peridot, and so on, grounding back into the transmutation scaffolding seen right here. So that aspect, of course, illustrates the entirety of the blade band scaffolding of ignition sequence based on crystalline vibrational correspondence that works as the recirculation containment field for all the other exotic crystals yet to be mentioned. Starting off with the blade facing scene right here is a very large prominent specimen of turquoise. So turquoise, just like lapis lazuli mounted above it, is a favorite of millions for thousands of years for a very good reason. The aspect of turquoise is, of course, a very stunning, beautiful stone to look at, but the aspect of the fifth chakra stimulation, that combining the aspects of the four terrestrial elements of earth, fire, water, and air through a fifth chakra focus is of the paramount aspect of wholeness. So, of course, that's why it's been denoted as a very famous ancient grandfather ally, due to its full pranic stimulation of a truth sphere that's very harmonizing to the entire auric field and meridians in general for very powerful pranic stimulation through, most importantly, a higher truth focus, which is very, very advantageous for the spiritual adept, particularly in a teaching position. Combining that with lapis lazuli, another blue ray crystal of quite the intrigue of application of antiquity of magical purposes, would be an air elemental, fifth and sixth chakra stimulant, that of highest truth. Hence, it has been utilized in quite famous, which I will omit a great amount of lore to consolidate this video as much as possible. But the practical application is having the higher mind aspect of the third eye stimulation combined with the fifth is very enhancing for one's sovereign capacity, particularly once again in a teaching position to be of assistance to those they serve in creation. So that aspect right there is a very powerful truth frequency stimulation by design of very powerful fifth chakra stimulation to be in one's highest truth by design. Then at the apex is a very special combination, that of the restoration frequency triangulation, or trifecta if you would, starting off with the Tibetan black quartz, the star aragonite seen right here, as well as the green seraphinite seen right here. So all three of these minerals actually have a very powerful, dynamic, utilitarian, full light body healing capacity, aka dismantled patterns of dis-ease found stored in the chakra column from top to bottom in their own right as three different minerals. So naturally, when the three are together, they generate substantial vibrational compound interest for a very utilitarian, dynamic, fully healing energy trajectory through the entire light body from top to bottom. So that, of course, is why that particular trinity is that of the restoration frequency. So next above that would be two gold ray crystals of great prominence, staggered side by side, fixed on both sides of the sunstone in the middle. So this here is golden healer quartz, as well as Himalayan golden azanthite. So both of them have a very distinct high heart direct source attunement frequency stimulation. So naturally them working together, once again, generates vibrational compound interest of a very divine gold white light direct source attunement by design. Then the middle right here will be sunstone. Sunstone's a very lovely feldspar-based solar plexus and sacrum stimulant, that of very fiery, fun, joy, enthusiasm, and confidence, which is very advantageous in combination with the massive receptivity of abundance, of course, to be a strong yin, while the sunstone, even a small dose, provides a great yang of the energy going out to feel good and make quite the confidence-inducing cornucopia of blessings vibration sensation. Quite simply, it has very good vibrations that are very enthusiasm generating, I should say. Then above that would be two very special space magic crystals. That of Libyan gold tektite, which is a gold ray cousin to another very famous crystal named moldavite, which is green ray. So both of these crystals have quite mysterious celestial origins on our third dimensional plane of Earth. So they work fantastic together in the aspect of being very powerful cosmic energy generators. And what I'm trying to say there too is they both work together very swiftly as dharmic accelerants, which is intended by design to expedite one's highest creation manifestation in connection to their dharmic template, and of course encourage that full manifestation into tangible reality. Clear my throat on that one. So quite simply, both of these stones together are quite denoted for very legendary capacities of aligning one's life to their absolute highest timeline pathway. Hence, they're truly stones of magic that became quite famous in this timeline. Then next to that would be two beads of infinitite staggered side by side on the inner core, these green stones right here. So infinitite is a variety of serpentine, which is already another very famous full Kundalini activator, serpentine, but infinitite has a very specialty format of decrystallizing patterns that are stagnant from the entire chakra column. So it works very nice in tandem with the restoration ratio to ensure that old patterns of stagnant energy have no real grounds to, or footholds I should say, to maintain an overlap of the idyllic auric field template. By design to also work as another insulation energy psychic shielding, which of course is very inherent with the transmutation ratio to work as a very strong grounding bypass for all this excess energy. Hence I circle back to its relevance once again. Then right here, this would be where the hood section shall be, which will have this lovely green leather installed appropriately once this video is fully concluded and everything's been notarized. And the aspect of the green leather hood has a purpose far more than aesthetic. So of course, with green being the dominant vibrational concentration of engineering in this entire construct, is another green color therapy supportive heart chakra stimulation. Then, of course, it works to protect these subtle stacked stones seen inside here. So, of course, when it's being wielded and worn by the practitioner on many spiritual adventure, God willing, they are well secured and do not have any integrity loss of the structure engineering for this section. But also, perhaps most importantly, the aspect of it having the proper green leather installation, it also serves like a hood to insulate the energy, to mitigate the stray radial energy from leaking laterally, so the energy is more condensed and focused through the primary blade band as well as the apex band right here where the necklace is installed. That perhaps might be the most important aspect, as well as once it is properly installed, it does have a nice aesthetic finish, but it is far more than just for appearance. So under the hood would be a large specimen of black tektite, which is another celestial bearing crystal of product of meteorite impacting sand. So the aspect of black tektite is the impact of a celestial body of a meteorite impacting the sand, carrying that extraterrestrial jolt into third dimensional creation. And why it's so advantageous, and particularly a prominent large spacing right here, is that the vibrational increase is a black ray raising of vibrations from the Earth stars up to be a foundational scaffolding to literally raise vibrations from the bottom up, which is very, very advantageous for the ideal spiritual human avatar fully realized into tangibility is the goal here. Then right here is a combination of many transmutation purification black ray crystals as well as amber for this distinct purpose. So over here on the side would be amber, which is, though not technically a mineral, quite the famous metaphysically utilized talisman for millennia to turn negativity into positivity through energetic filtration. Then you combine that aspect with black tourmaline and shungite, which have very similar dispositions of transmuting, once again, negativity like a chakra filter, negativity into positivity through the transmutation sequence at another pitch to, once again, promote vibrational compound interest towards the goal of consistent etheric energetic purification by rapid reprocessing Earth for perpetual etheric dialysis, once again, by design. Then over here would be a very specialty crystal, that of lepidolite, which is a very high lithium potassium bearing crystal, which is extremely soothing on the nervous system, as well as all the bodies of spectrum emotional bodies, for example. So it of course brings quite the soothing vibration to the dynamic threshold of this technically wearable compact construct. Then above the lepidolite would be that of Sedona red rock, which of course comes from Sedona, Arizona, a place in the region of the world with high iron concentration that makes all of this oxidized red due to its high iron content. Hence, it's quite the famous place of magic for that purpose, or quite the spiritual vortice acclaimed zone, due to its capacity to ground high frequency energy into tangibility. So the aspect of having a little red rock right here, of course, brings a further grounding routine of quite simply making the magic real by design. And I clear my throat after that one. So next, we're circling towards the end of this constructs tour right here. Here we go. They're always quite a mouthful to have these conversations with this phone. So the wooden core itself is that of a oak specimen that's been shaped and sanded into size that comes from here in Sedona in the Oak Creek region. So the aspect of the oak is quite critical to be a carbon-based vibratory bridge to the crystalline silica radius built around it to bring further compatible resonance with the carbon-based wood with the carbon-based physical avatar, at least for now, to quite simply be another ideal transference of the energy resonance to, once again, my favorite joke, make the magic real. So that's, of course, also why oak is quite the legendary wood of gods, kings, heroes, you name it, it goes on, which I will omit to keep things relatively coherent and consolidated and on track to relevancy, which is not as easy as it appears when there's so much to talk about in one of these little videos and a very dynamic, compact construct dissertation. And so affixed to both sides of the oak is something called selenite. This white crystal hewn on both sides plays quite the contingent role for this construct as well. So selenite by itself is a very fantastic third eye, crown chakra, and all the higher chakra stimulations back to one's godhead to quite essentially clear debris between one's highest guidance and one's conscious self. And with that high frequency induction also works another purification layer through divine induction to burn off stagnant energy from top to bottom through the auric field that is quite simply not of one's divine attunement resonance, which by itself truly makes it the parameters of being a master healer. But where it truly shines in any given one of these constructs is in the 16 minutes of discussion of all these crystals seen through this entire construct, well discussed at this point, in a closed loop sequence running in a perpetual figure 8 by design. It works with all these crystals. It works to amplify all of these crystals in a circuit. It works to purify all these crystals. Perhaps most importantly, it brings equilibrium and harmonization of the entire crystalline pitch, which of course puts in the realm of being a truly viable spirit tool light tech device as a lightblade talisman. So that's always a fun fact. Then affixed to the selenites would be that of kyanite on the black and blue spectrum. So kyanite, for that matter, will be employed with intentionally whimsically fast penmanship to illustrate its rapid transferability of energy through the entire auric field, starting now, with the black kyanite being the most absolute rapid bridger of energy through the root chakra, the earth stars, into the earth for reprocessing at literally the speed of quantum light. It also serves as another contingency or surge protector to ensure the frequency pitch is grounding through the system into the earth to once again ensure the vibratory output is being grounded into the earth to make it tangible to, once again, make the magic real. Then on the other side of this selenite would be blue kyanite, which is a very fantastic third eye stimulant by intensive mitigation of cross interference between the left and right hemispheres to encourage whole brain thinking, aka the awakened third eye. And so with that rapid transferability, rerouting energy so quickly, it also serves as another layer of etheric Teflon that is very discouraging for stagnant, lower, weaker frequencies to maintain the field with that much reroute, rebuffering, and reprocessing at literally the speed of quantum light by design. So that would be the entirety of the crystalline composition discussed. And so naturally, like I mentioned 18 minutes ago now, this would be a proper entry into the abundance field as a dominant spectrum emanation with many supporting features to make it a very utilitarian and very versatile frequency pitch that, of course, addresses the entire chakra column through top to bottom with many layers to support the theme of primarily being an abundance construct, with a very much a truth wholeness configuration to encourage one's highest truth and, of course, to sharpen their skills as they serve creation by design. And, of course, very, very importantly, to reiterate, this is another spectrum of the restoration ratio, which has had quite the massive crusade boon expansion recently due to, quite simply, its effective results. So that's why the restoration frequency is mentioned one more time as the Holy Trinity right here. And there we go. That would be it. That'd be the 53rd rendition of Abundance. 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us all.